Welcome back, folks. In this video, we're going to discuss building frequency tables from our data. So a frequency table tells us, well, frankly, the frequency of specific data points in our data set. Now, what is the frequency? Frequency is just the number of times that a specific data point occurs. Now, data, remember, can refer to anything, right? Data are maybe the representation of the ages of kids of people in the class, or maybe the number of kids of people in the class, or average heights, or whatever, right? It's whatever you're studying, it's all the numbers that we have to work with. That is data. Now we're interested in how many times specific data points occur, right? So let's look at this example here. I have a list of numbers. Let's say this is maybe the number of kids of students in a class. Doesn't matter what it is, the process is the same. There's two things to notice here. One, we have class, and we also have frequency. This right here will become our frequency table. Now, the class is the category that we're looking at, meaning we're looking at how many people had one kid, how many people had two kids, how many people had three kids, etc., etc. That category we're looking at of one kid, two kid, three kid, four kid, that is our class. Now, the class will usually be assigned to you, right? You'll be told in your assignments, in your lab, in your homework what the class is, or they'll just give you the categories already. Sometimes they're ranges, sometimes they're individual values, sometimes they're colors, sometimes they're qualitative data. Doesn't matter. The class is usually pre-assigned. It's a category. So how we're going to decide that is, well, let's look at our data and let's sort it from smallest to largest. We sort it from smallest to largest just the way that everything is clear. We can see exactly what's in our data set. Now, the classes that we're looking at are the reported one child event, two children, three children, and four children. The reason those are our classes is that those are the only options that were presented to us, right? The only data points that we received were between 1 and 4. So those are the categories we're looking at. One child reported, two children reported, 3 or 4. Now, the frequency very simply is how many times does each of these occur? How many people said they had one child? Well, how many ones are there in our data set? There are 2. So the frequency for 1 is 2. Similarly, the frequency for 2, that second class, is how many 2s were reported in our data set. There were 3. So the frequency for 2 is 3. Similarly, for 3, how many 3s were reported? There were 3 of those reported as well. So the frequency for 3 is 3. And lastly, how many 4s were reported? Well, we can see in our data set there were exactly 2 4s. That means that the frequency of 4s in our data set is 2. This right here, this whole thing is our frequency table. It tells us how many times each class is represented in our data set. Stay tuned for more examples. I'll talk to you next time.